altogether and just, go off and live in a monastery somewhere. And this is good because it helps us to attain the ultimate. I always think of the story of Ajamil. You know that story from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? Well, Ajamil was born in a Brahmin family, and he got very good training in spiritual life. But one day he was out in a forest, and he was gathering wood or something like that. And he saw these two Shudras making love. They went out in the forest, and they were having sex in the bushes or something out in the forest. And he became obsessed with this woman, this Shudra woman. And so gradually he somehow hired her as the servant in the house and started having illicit sex with her. And then, of course, they both got booted out for being rascals. And then he became a thief. And he committed every sin in the book. Everything. Just to support this fallen woman. And he completely gave up spiritual life of all kinds and just made his life a complete mess. So when he got old, he was on his deathbed. And at that time, he had named his son Narayan. Narayan is the name of Krishna, one of Krishna's expansions. And so he was on his deathbed, and the son, Narayan, was taking care of him. So it's like, Narayan, bring my food. Narayan, take care of fix the blankets or whatever he needed. He would call his son. Narayan this, Narayan that. And so at the end of his life, he's getting ready to leave his body. And the servants of Yamaraj, the king of death, the lord of death, came. And, they're really terrible-looking, fiendish-like beings with, big chains and whips and dogs. And, they capture the spirit soul and drag him off, to be judged and punished at the court of Yamaraj. The sinful living entities are their jurisdiction. So they showed up, and they were like, okay, Ajamil, get ready, here we go, And all of a sudden, these messengers from Lord Vishnu, the Vishnu Dutas, also showed up. And they said, no, you can't mess with him, he's ours. And then there was a very interesting conversation between the servants of Yamaraj and the servants of Vishnu. And basically, the servants of Yamaraj were saying, look, this guy committed every crime in the book. He gave up being a brahmana. He fell down. He got completely sinful. He did all this nonsense. And everything he did wrong. And he was a bad guy and so sinful. So he's ours. And the Vishnu Duta said, but no. He chanted the name Narayan somehow or other, in great anxiety at the end of his life. So Lord Narayan sent us to give him a second chance. So the Yamadutas had to go back. And the Vishnu Dutas gave him a lecture. Look, you rascal. Lord Narayan is giving you another chance. Now, don't mess up this time. So he recovered from his disease. And as soon as he was able, he left home. He left home and he went to Rishikesh. If you know India, Rishikesh is a famous place for temples and sadhus and performing all kinds of religious activities, spiritual activities. So he went to Rishikesh, and he spent quite some time, it doesn't say exactly how long, but quite a bit of time, just chanting the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Ram Hare. And then an airplane came from the Vaikuntha planets. And the same Vishnu Dutas that had come before picked him up, and they took him back to the spiritual world on this airplane. So this is the same kind of thing. I mean, we all, in the West, we all went through this. We all have gone through, we've all have been the loudmouth, intoxicated, whoremonger, rascal, stealing criminal. Because if you even just participate in this society, you're a criminal. Because they're killing cows, they're killing people. Wasn't it a coincidence that the American troops pulled out of the cities in Iraq just on the same week that the oil deal was signed? What a coincidence. Isn't that amazing? Standard Oil gets the right to drill anywhere and take all the oil from Iraq. And to that same week, the troops get pulled out of all the cities, and they're on their way home. Dang, isn't that a coincidence? What do you know? So people are dying all over the world just for the economic advantage of a few countries. And so if you're in those countries and you're participating in the economy, you have to share some of that karma. You have to share some of those murders, that stealing, that they're stealing from people in the different countries, and they're also stealing from God because they're taking too much out of the earth to where it's not sustainable, to where the next generation will not have these resources. So anyone who participates in that economy, that means they have some of the blame. And they have to deal with that. So what we do is that we take the energy that we get, the money, the facilities, the resources, whatever that people donate to us, and we offer them to Krishna. So that's the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad-gītā. We're working on it. We'll get through it one of these days. The 3rd chapter of Bhagavad-gītā is about karma yoga. How do you engage your material activities in spiritual life? We were just talking about this last night, that since we started preaching about karma yoga, that the whole tone of our community has changed. And now we see that the devotees are much more interested in building community, in cooperating together to do some nice activities for devotional service. So anyway, this to us indicates that our students are actually maturing. They're actually taking this message. They're actually doing it in their own personal lives. And they're getting the results. After all, if someone had not gotten the results from the practices of the first 2 chapters of Bhagavad-gītā, they're not going to go and start doing the process that's given in the 3rd chapter, because the 3rd chapter is really straight up. It says, this is about sacrifice. This means give up the results of your work. In other words, you donate the results of your work to the Brahmanas and the Vaishnavas for use in sacrifice. Because the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas are the ones who know how to do this sacrifice. And gradually you should also become trained up in this process. And guess what? The devotees have been doing that. So they wouldn't be doing that if they did not get the results of chapter 1 and chapter 2 instructions. Do you follow me? How is a person going to give up voluntarily? We don't force anybody. When Ziggy comes here, it's not like we take him in the corner and, all right, Ziggy, you got to eat some prasadam now. Come on. No, please. So we don't force anybody. But somehow or other people are giving, I mean, thousands of dollars This is amazing, right? But it's not too amazing if you realize that they have been following the instructions from the first chapter, from the second chapter, and they're getting the results. It's working. Hey, this is real. Krishna is real. This isn't just mythology. It's science. It's a practice. It's not just a religion. It's not just a belief. No, it's real. It works. It's practical. So now we start talking about, okay, and here it says in the third chapter, you do this. Just wait till the fourth chapter. Fourth chapter is take a spiritual master. Get transcendental knowledge. And now we're having something like 10 new initiates at the Janmashtami festival coming up. So you see gradually all the people who actually